Before today's review, Norman would like to ask the executives of Sony one simple question.
Why?
And now, on with the review.
Let me ask you a question. How do you tell a compelling story about a not-so-compelling person? The key to having any kind of successful film, no matter what story you're telling, is to have a main character who is compelling, i.e. likable or sympathetic. Luke Skywalker, Furiosa, Sam from Ronin, all three of these characters are likable. And because you like them, you're interested in the story that they're in. But let's say you wanted to make a movie about a historical figure, and particularly a historical figure who is notorious for not being very likable. Well, you either don't make the movie, or you have someone else be the main character of the story and make the person that you want the story to be sort of about as a supporting character. Or at the very least, you make the presentation of the story just compelling enough that you're interested to see where it goes. Director Milos Forman has made a career out of making movies about people who are generally unlikable. But at one point, is a certain historical figure so unlikable that there's really no point in making a story about him, much less making him the actual main character of the story, and not having enough interesting characters around him? Well, you get Black Mass. This is a very tough film to talk about, let alone recommend or not recommend, because the elements in it that are good are so good that I want to recommend people to see it, but the elements that are bad are so bad that I honestly can't in good conscience recommend it. The story follows the life and times of the infamous South Boston crime boss named James Whitey Bulger, played by Johnny Depp. At one point during his criminal career, he became an informant for the FBI. He forges a special alliance with an FBI agent and childhood friend named John Connolly, played by Joel Edgerton. Oh, by the way, have you seen this yet? Please go see it. Like right now. It's still playing in theaters. Please go see it. Anyway, Whitey forges the alliance because he wants to move the mafia out of southern Boston. So the deal he strikes with his friend in the FBI is Whitey will provide them with information regarding the mafia, and in return, the FBI will quietly ignore any and all criminal activities made by Whitey. It's a story of crime, family, corruption, loyalty, and the nature of evil. First, let me say what's good about the film. Everyone's acting, especially Johnny Depp as Whitey, is top-notch. Everyone plays their characters very well, and as far as I'm concerned, their Boston accents are spot on. The direction is pretty fluid for the most part, and the cinematography is gorgeous. Minus a few out-of-focus shots here and there. Now let's move on to what the film didn't do right. The script spends most of the time telling the story rather than showing the story, via confessionals from people who worked for Whitey. And the parts of the story that they do show feel very unnecessary. Another problem with trying to tell a movie about Whitey Bulger is that he's notorious for being the most violent crime boss in South Boston. So naturally, the film depicts his more violent side. Which isn't really a problem, except just because you're telling a story about a violent person doesn't mean you should show a lot of his violence. At least in my opinion. But the thing is, all of these nitpicks could be forgivable if there was at least one character in the story who was actually sympathetic. Someone you could actually latch on to be more engaged in the story. And unfortunately, there ultimately isn't. Without spoiling who this character is, I will say that one character starts out as a likable and sympathetic person, but then becomes not a likable and interesting person. It also doesn't help this movie doesn't really have anything that you haven't already seen in any other crime drama, much less a Boston crime drama. Bottom line, there's really no reason to see this movie unless you're a history buff and want to learn more about Whitey Bulger. If you want to watch a better Boston crime drama, try Gone Baby Gone. And if you want to see a better movie in theaters right now with Joel Edgerton, please see this! Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Norman. Thank you for watching.